Okay, right, here we are. Home practice, active session. So I'm doing this from home today. There could be Sydney and Fergus interruptions, just warning you. But let's come to standing. And we're going to stand in Tadasana. Menstruating or balance issues or excessive heat in the body, take the feet hip width apart. Otherwise, join the feet and then spread across the balls and the heels, connecting big toe knuckle, second, third, fourth, and fifth toe mounds or knuckles into the floor. And as you press them, just let the feeling of the earth element come in through the body. So by that I mean there's a feeling of stableness and connectedness. And then do the same with the heels of the feet. And let that travel up through the bones of the body and make your own adjustments based on what you feel from the pressing of those balls and heels. But bring your attention to that bone part of the body rather than the muscles or the skin. Let that find its lift and its length. As you travel up through the body, making your adjustments, you also bring that to the bones of the fingers, the thumbs, all of the body. Back of the skull bone, that epic, the round part of the head, let it slightly lift and spread. And then as you gaze forward, quiet with the eyes, quiet with the brain, let the gaze start to come inward. And just feel what happens with that. We're going to hold this for a few more seconds. Tadasana or Samasthiti is an excellent pose to practice. Never let it become boring. Always look to find more work, more lift, just more of everything in it. It'll nourish all of your other poses. Then re-scan and check the body. Just get that feeling of what's doing what it needs to do. I'm not giving lots of direct instruction. Feel for yourself what you're feeling, especially each day that you practice this. Once you get to the point, last few moments where the bones are well lifted and you've got that connection from the level of the bones and the earth, then start to spread out through the muscles to the skin. Feel that the buttocks aren't gripping, nor is the abdomen. Soft quietness. And as we release from here, while there's a release, don't let it be a collapse. Just let the effort start to diminish. That's it. And then from here, we'll come to Uttanasana. So depending on how you do your home practice and what time of the day you do it in, you might want to start off on tall blocks, with the feet wide. You might be able to go straight to hands to the floor. Experiment with it. There's no right or wrong. And then whatever you choose to start with, come to concave back. And again, come back to that earth element and use the bones to help you find that. And if you discovered something in your Tadasana that needs just a little more attention to bring that firmness right from the bones, then bring it. Feel the spreading and the broadening. And then once you've got that connection through the bones, let it spread through the muscles, the tendons, the organs to the skin. Let everything be involved. Then, depending on hamstrings, whether you're progressing through the bricks to a lower level or your hands to the floor, or perhaps now you're able to catch the back of the ankle and lengthen along the legs bending the elbows so you hold the broadness as you go. And then keep holding those bones. Hold the intent through the bones. If you're in full pose, let the back of the head release. If you're somewhere in between, see that the neck isn't hard. Again, no gripping abdomen or buttocks. And then come back to concave back. Roll the bicep muscle forward and stretch forward so the side ribs go with you and you get longer through here. And then whether it's bent legs or straight legs, hands to the hips and come up. Then we're going to use the long edge of the mat. You might want your bricks. Have them if you think you might need them. Come back to Tadasana. Spread the feet, whether it's hip width apart or feet together. Come back to the bones. Find the lift. Press those toe mounds. Found that really helpful to get that extra work through the legs. Be steady. Let the gaze be soft. And then once you feel that softness through the gaze, turn it inward. We're going to be taking the feet wide, stepping or jumping. So injuries, menstruation, unwell, you'll step the feet. Otherwise, bend at the knees and the ankles. Jump, take the feet wide. We'll start off by going hands to the hips. Just check the feet if you're unsure if they're pointing straight ahead. So no toes out, definitely not. Low back issues, let the toes come in more, heels even broader. And then feel here with the feet wide, if you can still bring that work of the Tadasana, the earth element, the bone work back into your pose. And then as you start to spread your awareness further and come to the level of the muscles and the skin, particularly focus on this area and lift it up. Let there be more space between the upper leg than the outer leg. It's really easy. I did this for many years. I think I probably still do at times, where I would just increase the space between the lower leg rather than the upper leg. And it gives a false sense of space. But the space really needs to come from the thigh bones holding in, the broadness being across the back of the sitting bones, and then that huge muscular effort of the thighs lifting up. It's a good way to practice getting the thigh bone in. And then notice if your feet do something differently here as you work this, if you can still press the ball mounds and the heels and get that strong connection that you had earlier. Feel the spine lift, the space between each rib. We're going to be turning the feet to the right. So I'm going the same side as you are rather than doing a mirror image, just in case you wondered. And then angle the left heel away. And feel here now that the feet have turned. Is there enough space? Do you need to go longer? Are you too long? And you can experiment with this over the month as well. So I'm going to go a little bit longer because I was really getting a drop here and I wasn't able to activate this thigh, particularly the outer thigh. So I want to find where that work is and that strong connection through the bones and then the muscles and the skin. The thigh bones well lifted and plugging in to the hip. And again, there's still that activation of the inner thighs. And take the arms out to the side. Now we're going to do Trikonasana, triangle pose. For our first one, we're going to start off by taking the front arm forward and then reaching as we come out forward so that this all gets much longer. So as you start to come, lengthen, 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 keep feeling the length. Now at some point, there has to be the turn and the change so that you can come into the pose. but you don't want to lose the length to get there. So my hand is quite low. It might be too low for you. Have the hand where you can get the extension, and then roll the bicep muscles forward. Let the tops of the shoulders come out of the ears. And if you've got the work and it's there, take the fingers to the floor. I can't get the whole of my hand down yet because you see what happens when I try. I collapse. So I can get the fingertips. That's where I start. And over time, the rest will come. Turn the chest up. Stay long through the right side of the ribs. And to come up, use the back leg and the top arm. So you lift up smoothly. I'm going to turn that foot in. And today, I'm going to step the feet back to Tadasana, whether it's feet together or apart. And just come back into your Tadasana. Feel what you're feeling. The right side of my body feels much longer. From the feet all the way up into the armpit. I can feel my shoulder blade differently on this side, and even this side of my head feels different. So we better even ourselves up. Bring the hands to the chest, bend the knees and the ankles, stepping or jumping. Take the feet wide and stand in this position and feel, can you press the feet? You can take the hands to the hips if you need to. Can you work those inner thighs? Can you connect to the bones? Can you find the lift? And if you need longer to find that lift, take longer. Don't rush it. And then we'll turn to the left, adjust the back leg and feel, does the side feel different? We're going to take the arm forward again. So activate the feet, the thigh bones, bring the left arm forward so that you can really start to lengthen. And even as you go, just don't let the chest drop to the floor. Keep lengthening, lengthening, lengthening until you get to that point where you have to roll into position. And it can be a bit of a roll, as long as it's not a collapse. And then feel, where can this hand be to support the lift of the chest from here without your chest rolling to the floor? Bring it forward. Let that left side of the rib cage come forward. And again, if you can take the hands to the floor and still be well lifted, then great. It's excellent. It's just as excellent to be here and finding the length and the opening. Hold the legs steady. Find the space in that left rib. Work of the feet, and then preparing to come out. So again, use the back leg, foot, thigh, top arm, and lift up. Turn the foot forward, stepping or jumping, Tadasana. And again, come back to that, feeling what you feel through your body. And the left side feels different now. Feels more lifted, more leaner and longer than the right side. So now, as I stand here in my Tadasana, the gaze is inward. I'm starting to try to find a balance between the left and the right so that they start to feel more the same, that the right side comes back up to meet the left. We're going to interlace the fingers, and we're bringing the hands up into Shirsasana position. I know I've lost just the top of my arms, but I'm sure you can see enough. I'll just adjust myself back a little more. There we go. So from here, feel where's the best place for the shoulder blade to be engaged. Here, it's too wide. I can feel that I'm just crunching the inner edge of the blade, but I don't have much control. Here's pretty good. There's a lot more effort and broadening. And as I do this, the back of my head releases up, which is good. If I was on my head, I'd want my head to release down. Everything else lifts up. And if I bring my attention back to the feet, the bones, the earth element that we've been working with. This is how we want our Shirsasana to feel. Then I want to lengthen up through the tricep muscle to lift the elbow. Creates a different kind of work on the back ribs, the shoulder blades. This is how I want my Shirsasana headstand to feel. I want to feel this long and lifted, as if this was just a picture and someone flipped it around the other way. Everything's the same. Then release the arms. We're going to change the interlace. Other little finger on the bottom. Whoops, that was the same. And then bring them straight back up into Shirsasana. And feel where are the arms the most helpful. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't practice headstand. This is still good work. Look for that same connection through the feet, the shin bones, the thigh bones. Take care not to just push the knees back. Work the head of the shin bone back rather than pushing the knee itself back. Lift up into the elbows. Feel the work of the arms. Biceps well engaged, triceps well engaged. Everything's holding and lifting, including the back of the head. See how steady you can make yourself here. And then release, Tadasana. Okay, so those of you that can do headstand, you could do a headstand now. If headstand isn't for you, or one day that you're practicing this, you're menstruating, you're tired, maybe you're not as well, and you don't have the full ability for your headstand, you can do with your yoga chair Viparita Dandasana. So it is the slide through, it is a chest open, the legs are straight, either to the floor, if you were menstruating, they'd be higher, or in line with the hip. It all depends on your body. So if you're doing Shirsasana, you could do it now. If that's not for you today, or one of the days that you're practicing, now I haven't put a blanket on this chair. It doesn't really need it. It's not that hard. But if you need it, put it on. Getting a distance from the wall is the first thing. So I'm sliding through. In Viparita Dandasana, it's just the chest that opens. So I need to be able to start with my head here and then find, and as I go, I'm using those upper arms to lift the chest. So I want the shoulder blades into the back. It's really no further than here in the chair. And then I want to see, can I take my feet? You know, I've got the rungs, which make it a little bit easier. But if you've got your wall, you just walk the feet. And then once you feel settled here, take the arms, depends on your chair. And so as I try to reach them through here, I feel I'm actually too far on the chair. I do need to come off a little bit more to the bottom edge of the shoulder blade so that I can be more comfortable here with the arms and make the shape. I could have the heels on the floor, toes on the wall. Okay. So here's your alternative. Coming out. Not that you'll be coming out yet, but use the elbows on the chair, lift the chest, and then the head to come up, not the head first. If you're doing Shirsasana, make it like your Tadasana. If you can only do short holds, do a short hold and then come down, have a rest, try again. I'm just going to briefly go in. I want to make it feel exactly like my Tadasana felt. Lots of arm work, lots of lift. The back of the head descending, thigh bones firm. That spreading of the collarbones in both poses actually, spread the collarbones. And in your Shirsasana, really work the wrist down. When you come down for your rest, rest the head, okay? So spend a little more time here. Coming down, coming up. If you struggle with the kick up, then, take care as you practice that. Especially working on your own, you need to be really safe. If you're not kicking up, if you're not safe, don't do it. Just stick with the chair, the Viparita Dandasana. And in class, that's when we can work with the rest for headstand. So now if you're down and you're done, rest, head resting. If you stayed the whole time, if you're a seasoned headstand practitioner, great. Last couple of breaths just to recover. And then you'll bring yourself up. We're going to go forward Virasana. So knees wide, big toes together. Stretch the arms forward. Whoops, I've lost one of my hands. So the elbows aren't on the floor. I'm stretching. I'm trying to create that same feeling from Tadasana here through the upper body. So as the hips go back, the hands go forward, I press the hands, let the ears come in line with the upper arms, neck is passive, and stretch back. See how long you can make yourself. Then work the bicep muscle forward and the tricep muscle down to the floor. Use the arms and find the bones. And then stretch the muscles along the bones. Get longer and longer. Until you feel you couldn't possibly be any longer. Back ribs are settling in nice, the shoulder blades are nice, everything's holding. Keep all of that work as you come up, tuck the toes, lift the hips. If the heels are coming down, take them down. If they're up, then they're up. And then bring yourself back to that earth element in the bones. You should have done that in your headstand too, if you were headstanding. Sorry, I didn't say. And then stretch the muscles along the bones. Get longer and longer. Bicep and tricep, really bring them in. Abdomen soft. No gripping of the buttock. Thighs firm and up. Tailbone slightly down. Ears in line with the upper arms. Draw back. Open the body. Last few breaths. Look forward to the hands. Stepping or jumping. Uttanasana. Have your props if you need. Come back to the bones of the feet. Even the bones of the hands if you're pressing the hands to the floor or onto the bricks. Connect up that gentle spread of the abdomen because it's so light from the work of the legs. It just lifts and spreads. That pressing back of the top of the thigh bone and this pressing forward slightly of the buttock bones. So feel if you can get those resistances. Small, subtle action. You can go into full pose. You can stay in concave. Then look forward. If you're in full pose, bring the hands back under the shoulders. We're going to come back into a downward facing dog. Place the hands. Make the arms long. Take the feet back. Make the legs long. Stretch everything in between. Find that connection from the bones to the muscles, the tendons, the skin. Hold for 3 more breaths, full cycles. And when you get to the end of that third exhalation, come down, child's pose. We're going to rest there for a moment, and then you'll bring yourself up. If you didn't have your chair before, take it now. Pop it on the mat. And this is a a supported Purvottanasana. So we'll start off here. So I'm walking my sitting bones to the edge of the chair so I can feel them. And you can experiment with where you put the hands, perhaps over the month. So the hardest thing to do is to find the position of the feet. It's the legs that generate the lift up, like in a back bend. It's got to come from the legs. The chest follows, rather than trying to use the arms to lift up. So have the hands where you think it might work. It could be here, and then lift the chest, press the shoulder blades on, and feel as you press into the feet, that earth element, the bones, use the legs, lift the hips, and lift up. So it's almost like a prep for Uttanasana, back bend, and it is a variation of Purvottanasana. As I come down, I don't want to collapse. I have to use the legs, find the sitting bones to the chair, and then sit. So do another 2. You can experiment with the hands. So don't just haul yourself up with the arms. Shoulder blades in, lift from the legs, and feel. How's it going? Can you get more lift of the sacrum? Chest will follow. And as you come down, legs, chest stays lifted and down. One more. Use the legs. Press the sacrum forward, shoulder blades in, and lift up. And feel. You know, you might even let the head go back if it feels good. Lift up. Use the muscles of the arms to the bone. The abdomen shouldn't puff. It should all be in the legs. And then sit. Okay. Gosh, time's gone fast. So now from here, if you've got time and you've got full shoulder stand equipment, you could do that if you could take an extra 5 minutes. If you want to do it off the chair or a piece of furniture, you'll need a bolster. If you don't have longer, then I do the chair, piece of furniture. You could do the setu bandha on the floor. I'm choosing the sofa because it just feels so good. Bring the shoulders down. If you're on the chair or the furniture, take the feet back so that it is the supported shoulder stand rather than here. It's not that this is incorrect, it's a different pose, okay? Lift the sacrum. If you're in full pose, then you know how to get yourself in and out safely. Sacrum lifts. If you're really short on time, the setu bandha on the brick, lifting the tailbone and putting the brick under is probably a quicker one. Feel the length through the sides of the body, regardless of which pose you've chosen. Hopefully it feels like it did in Tadasana, in Trikonasana, in your chair, Viparita Dandasana, or your headstand Sirsasana. And the tailbone's lifted, like when we did our Purvottanasana on the chair, shoulder blades are on and lifted. From here, we're going to come down. So if you're taking more time, because you've got more time, then from here, you can work out your timing for how long you stay, and then Shavasana. This could be quite nice sometimes to experiment with as your Shavasana. It doesn't always have to be Shavasana as we know it, but it does need to be able to let your body absorb the work of the asana and for the mind to rest and for you to find that quiet place. So if you wanted to stay like this, you could try and see, do you get the same qualities of Shavasana? And if not, then you know perhaps you need a different setup. If you want to lie on the floor, I'm on carpet here at home, so I haven't put a blanket in. It's soft enough. But if you're on a hard surface, put a blanket in. If you've got lots of time, you want to stay longer, stay longer. Otherwise, it's a very quick one if you're going with the timing of the recording. Let yourself still sink into it. Gaze inwardly like you did in Tadasana. Just look at yourself from the inside. And let the hands rest on the body. Feel the breath, feel the brain, feel the body. Then the right knee and then the left. Take the arm over the head. Just roll to your right. Have a moment here. And then use the arm so you can stay low as you come up. And if you're still going, keep going if you've got longer. Otherwise, that is the end. Let me know how you go, particularly if you need help. Don't do the inversions if you're not safe. Okay. Oops. Bye.